But it's just an idea. But that's what it's all about, ideas. Because ideas provide that flash that enables us to do something creative, something really, really different.
Let's go out west on a big game hunting trip. Go out to the Rocky Mountains, we get out there, we're hunting for moose. We've got our rifle with our telescopic sight, our binoculars, we've got some sandwiches, we've got a thermos of coffee, we get settled in a tree line. We look out across a field, there's another tree line, maybe 200 yards out. So we pick up our binoculars, we look, we start scanning the tree line, suddenly we see movement. And there it is, there's a moose. So we put the binoculars down, we pick up our rifle, get up to our shoulder, we get him in the crosshairs, we're all set, got our finger on the trigger, we're just waiting for him to clear the thicket a little bit so we get a nice clean shot. And just as we're squeezing the trigger and just ready to fire, all of a sudden, boom! And down we go. And we feel this crushing weight upon us and this incredible pain. As we were watching and looking in that 1 degree field of vision, we forgot about the other 359 degrees around us. We forgot about the grizzly bear coming out of the woods. Too often we forget about the grizzlies. We forget about the dells. We forget about what can happen when we narrow our vision down so much and become so preoccupied with where we think we're going that we forget there's a world around us full of competitors, full of other people who are looking at what we have and waiting to take it away.
We all remember Crayola crayons, coloring with our Crayola crayons as kids in school, before school, our own children coloring with Crayola crayons. Crayola has continued to develop more colors constantly, but always in the crayon business, then in the marker business. Today, Crayola is in another business. Teamed with Benjamin Moore, you can buy Crayola paints, and they come in a can that looks like a Crayola box. Colors are the same as the colors in the child's crayon box. So a child can take a crayon and pick a color that they want to paint their room. Another example of how you can take innovation and use it to enter new marketplaces that didn't exist for you beforehand.
A middle school custodian marched into the principal's office late one afternoon, very, very angry and upset. She sat him down, and she pulled up a chair and sat next to him. She said, "Arthur, what's the problem?" And he said, "It's these 6th grade girls that have just entered our school. You know what they're doing now? They're into makeup. So between every class, they run into the bathrooms and they put on their makeup again. And you know what they do before they leave? They kiss the mirror." There's 4 bathrooms in this school I've got to clean. 4 girls' bathrooms every day. By the end of the day, from top to bottom, left to right, the mirror is covered with lipstick kisses. I've had it with these kids. You know what it takes to clean that off? Our principal was a very, very wise woman. She said, "Look, Arthur, I've got a solution to this problem." And she told what her solution was, and she said, "You meet me in the girls' bathroom attached to the gym, the locker room, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We're going to solve this problem." When she told him her solution, her innovative solution, he walked out of there with a light step and a smile. Well, by 8:15, they were all assembled there, crammed in this little bathroom. Okay? The principal could have yelled, she could have screamed, she could have cajoled, she could have warned and threatened the girls. She did none of those. She said, "Girls, you're growing up. I want you to see what he goes through. And when you see what he goes through to clean the mirror, I know you girls will do the right thing. Because I believe in you." And she said, "Arthur, would you demonstrate what you have to do to clean that mirror?" So Arthur lifted up his squeegee hand, stepped backward into one of the toilet stalls, and went swoosh, swoosh, and walked out the lamp. I can tell you, those are the best girls. She believed in them. No, seriously, she believed in them. And not only did they never, ever kiss that girl again. You know what happened? Every subsequent September, when the new girls come in, no one kisses the mirror. See, you don't have to be in high technology to come up with innovative solutions. Innovative solutions are all around us. It's how we approach the problem. She approached the problem in a very, very intelligent manner. Second thing it takes is determination and a willingness never to give up. And I'm reminded of an elderly couple. They had gone to high school together. They lived on a farm just outside town. They had been high school sweethearts. They had married at 18.
They had lived their whole life together, 60 years of marriage, and they were still on the farm together until one day the inevitable occurred, and the husband could no longer take care of his ailing wife and her needs. And so finally and reluctantly, he put her into a nursing home in town. But every day about 9 o'clock in the morning, he'd be in his Ford truck and he'd be driving to town, and he'd pass the sheriff's house, which was right on the edge of town, and in he'd go, spend the day, have lunch, and about 4:30 before the sun came down, off he'd go, headed home again. Well, one day the sheriff was in town, and sure enough, the old farmer had a little accident, just a fender bender, got a few bruises on him. Nothing much. But that night the sheriff went out, and he visited him at home and said, "I'm sorry, I've got to take your license away. But it's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. You stay home, recover from your bruises. By Monday, we in the town are going to find a way to get you into town every day. We'll carpool you. We'll send people out to take you to see your wife and to go home every night. We're not going to let you not see each other." Next morning, there he was, the sheriff, at breakfast, having coffee with his wife, discussing with her how they were going to arrange this so they could pick him up every morning. And then he heard put, 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 put coming down the road, and he looked out the window. There was the old farmer on his tractor, driving down the side of the road. You don't need a license for a tractor. All you need are the ability to see opportunities and the willingness not to give up.
Breakthrough innovation results when we abandon established thinking patterns and reject all limitations. Let me give you a real-world example of this in the engineering realm. A number of years ago, I was working with a defense contractor, and the project was to develop an automated ammunition suite for a 155 millimeter howitzer armored vehicle. Now, those shells, they're bullet shaped, they're steel, they stand about 3 feet tall, and they weigh roughly 65 pounds. The shell looks like this. So this kind of shape. What's important here is that because of the shape, the center of gravity is not in the middle, it's down here. And so when you're trying to move that shell, lift it and turn it, center of gravity is working against you. Now, what's also important in an armored vehicle out of the battlefield is power management. Power is worth gold. We were trying to move out of the hydraulic realm into the all-electric drive realm, probably 280 volt kind of range. When you do that, it takes an enormous amount of power to move a shell like that. Well, this day we were in the engineering department, sitting around a large round table, and the director of engineering, an older gentleman, was sitting directly across from me. And we had plans and drawings and all kinds of technical data on the table. And we're struggling with this problem because we could not get the power to move these shells the way we wanted to. You have to remember, we're talking about a burst rate of fire of about 10 rounds a minute and a sustained rate of fire of about 5, 6, 7 rounds a minute. That's a lot of power, a lot of movement of these heavy shells back and forth. And suddenly, as we're sitting there, he has the last set of drawings in front of him, directly across from me, so I'm looking at him upside down. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, what are we doing here? Why are we killing ourselves trying to fight the center of gravity? Take the same shell, put them upside down, your CG is now here. What does this mean? When you bring an arm up to move the shell, you grab it in two places like this, and as you begin to swing it down, what's happening? Its weight is bringing it down, requiring much less power. So I just said to everybody, let's put the shells upside down. Let's put them on their nose, hang them from their bottom. Everybody burst out laughing. Everybody except the senior engineer, the director of the department. He just sat there thinking, and everybody laughed and laughed and laughed, and finally calmed down. And he said, he's right. Put them upside down. Everybody said, you can't do that. It's ridiculous. And he said, why not? They just said, you can't do that. He said, why not? And then nobody said anything. Well, we did a little bit of checking, and we found out that there's one shell, the Willie Pete, white phosphorus, that you cannot maintain upside down a long period of time. But it can for a short period of time, well within our range. And the rest of the shells, it's immaterial. So we came up with a design in which the shells were upside down and reduced our power dramatically. Now, what's the principle here? When we abandon established thinking patterns and we reject all limitations, it opens the world to us. There's almost nothing we cannot do with that mindset.